All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Carrie Potter, and I am an educational support coach here at Family Matters. Abby and I are co-presenting today on advocacy through digital storytelling and tools to share your story. So to get started, we wanted to talk about, services that we offer here at Family Matters. First, I want to start off with saying that Family Matters is not a legal services agency, and we cannot provide any legal advice or legal representation. Information received from Family Matters is not intended as legal advice, just the same as today's webinar presentation. And so any information gained from Family Matters should not be used as a substitution for legal advice. So at Family Matters, we are one of two federally funded parent training and information centers. So each state has at least one parent center. Illinois has two. Family Matters covers 94 counties in the state. And then FRCD is the Family Resource Center on Disabilities, and they cover counties up in the Chicago region. So, just a little information about that. At Family Matters, we also offer disability and special education advocacy. So if you need disability-specific information, have questions about special education advocacy, you can contact us and we can help you, connect you to resources, help you understand the special education process. I will say our job is to kind of help you navigate that system, not so much we don't tell you what to do, but help you, get accurate information to help you make informed decisions as parents. So we also have an educational advocacy parent helpline. So if you contact our office looking for assistance, you would talk to Abby or myself as an educational support coach, and we could assist you through individual issues or concerns. We also offer trainings for parents and professionals. So like today's webinar or presentation, we offer other trainings on topics. If you have a specific topic that you are interested in and would like us to consider that for a future topic, just let us know. And, we can definitely try to meet that request. Also, I will say keep checking our website. We've updated our website, have a new website, and all of our trainings are listed there. So keep coming back there to look for any upcoming trainings or archived recorded trainings. Abby, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Here at Family Matters, we also help families and students with what we call school record reviews. So at any time you have questions involving your student's IEP, like maybe you get a draft copy before the upcoming meeting, maybe you want to know if your student's making sufficient progress towards their goals, we can help you by reviewing those records. We've really got a system down of doing that, and Carrie and I work very well together doing that particular task. Educational surrogacy program is something else we do here. We train individuals throughout the state to become educational surrogate parents or advocates for students within the custody of the state of Illinois. So students that are in with the DCFS program in a residential facility, in a juvenile justice facility. So we help train individuals to become their educational support advocate. And of course, our Compass program, formerly known as our VAP program, is coming back this year in January. So any interested parties can sign up and take a 10-week advocacy course with us, where we help you to help others understand their educational rights and responsibilities. And then you can volunteer through the program to work with the parent or student when they have specific questions and needs. Next slide, please.
Okay, so, nope, that's you. Sorry.
That's me, Carrie. So today's goals, today we're going to be able, by the end of today's presentation, you're going to be able to identify 3 benefits to sharing an advocacy story with others. You're going to discover 3 tools that can be used to create that digital story, and you're going to identify cautions about sharing your story with others. Next slide, please.
Okay, so we wanted to kind of just start off with talking about what is digital storytelling. So, we all have a story to tell, and in the disability field or world, there are many different people who can use digital storytelling to tell their story. So there are different approaches to digital storytelling. Today, we're mainly going to focus on, using technology, specifically Canva, but using like digital storytelling is something that really uses technology to bring your story to life. So maybe make a video or some type of presentation and you can share it easily with others to tell your story. Digital storytelling also allows you to share your individual experience with others. Like we said, we all have a story and we all have, a story that we may want to share. So when you're advocating for yourself or on behalf of somebody, there is an experience that you could share through digital storytelling. Digital storytelling also allows the storyteller, the person creating the story, to share their point of view on a specific topic. So, if you pick, I want to talk about self-advocacy, as a storyteller, you can share your point of view on that specific topic through digital storytelling. Digital storytelling also combines things like audio, music, or voiceover, or even photos and images to tell your story. So you can get really creative with it and take different approaches to digital storytelling. And that's just kind of a brief intro to it. So we'll move on.
Sorry, I had muted myself. Sorry about that. So now we're going to watch this example of digital storytelling, and it is an overview of Family Matters and the services that we offer here. So this is a great little introduction to what a digital storytelling can look like and how detailed or undetailed it may need to be. Go ahead and click, Carrie. So unfortunately, we're not able to get the music to go along with our videos to play on your guys' side of things. So sorry about that. And I know like every time I watch that video, I'm like, oh, it's really long when I play it during a presentation. But that just gives you an example of what kind of message you can get across with a short 3-minute video. So why would I want to make a digital story? So many people want to make digital stories about themselves for many reasons. It's a way that a digital portfolio is a perfect addition to your resume, maybe a college application, a job application, and it's a great way to allow you to show what makes you unique while also controlling your digital narrative. A digital portfolio helps you create the narrative in a positive way. It showcases what you're capable of and highlights work that you're most proud of doing. It's a great way to recognize your skills and accomplishments in a visually appealing, professional, and creative way. So who can create a digital story? Digital storytelling use multimedia tools to bring narratives to life. Digital storytelling Digital stories can be used to explain a concept, to reflect on a personal experience, to retell a historical event, or to make an argument. Digital stories are typically videos that combine audio, images, and video clips to tell a story. Now, a lot of schools are moving towards these digital stories instead of a PowerPoint presentation, instead of a poster board. And there's a lot of kids that are very familiar with making these. So when I had to make my first digital story with Family Matters to put together a presentation in Canva, my 14-year-old showed me how to do it completely. So it is a way that definitely schools are moving towards this digital platform. So anybody can learn to make one.
Okay, so just thinking about who can make, like Abby said, anybody can make a digital storytelling or digital story. So we wanted to talk about, different roles like parents and caregivers. If you're raising a child with a disability as a parent or caregiver, you can use digital storytelling to talk about your journey with raising someone with a disability. Maybe you want to share your story with your child's school staff. So, you could make a digital story to help you share your journey and your experiences. Or maybe you have a parent group and that you've started and you want to share your journey with other parents, then a digital story might be something appropriate for that situation. Really kind of there are no limits to the uses of who can use digital storytelling and what purposes those would be used for. So if a certain program as a parent, if you've worked with a certain program and it's helped you and really positively impacted your life, then you could share about that. Sorry, my slides keep going backward for some reason. Okay, so if you've used like a specific program or organization that's had an impact on your life positive, you might want to make a digital story to express gratitude for how that's positively impacted your life. Say your child went through early intervention and made tons of progress. As a parent, you could make a digital story to share that positive impact. You can also make stories for system-wide changes. If maybe you see a need for something to be changed, you could make a short digital story to express, what barriers you face as a parent raising a person with a disability and how those changes would positively impact your life or that person with a disability's life. People who live with disabilities can make digital stories. It's maybe important for them to share their story with maybe, their IEP team or people they're working with at the school level. So making a digital story to showcase what their accomplishments are, showcase what their goals and dreams are so that everyone working with them on the IEP or team can work together for the common good of helping them reach those goals and dreams. Other ways, a lot of students maybe have, or people with disabilities have portfolios that are paper to show employers and different things like that. But if you want to showcase your accomplishments, your work, volunteer experience, could possibly make a video, a digital story to tell the story of what your accomplishments are, what volunteer or work experience you've had, what accomplishments you've had in school, college, things like that. So really, there just really is no end to what can be shared or who can use these digital stories.
And that passes along to the siblings of an individual with a disability as well. So siblings carry a lot of the responsibility, a lot of the load for socialization with their siblings that have disabilities. So them making their own digital story, it can be helpful for them as well to express things like this. Digital storytelling is great if you are worried that one day you won't be here to take care of your child or make sure that your child's needs are met. Making a digital story and sharing it with family members or a sibling of this child or young adult that you're taking care of is a great way to make sure this message carries on to the next stage. My son actually made his own digital story as part of his Eagle Scout project because he was nervous to get up and talk in front of a lot of people. So the video gets a lot of the key points across, and he has that for a reference. Okay, next slide, please.
Okay, so we wanted to give you another example of digital storytelling. So I was asked to, as part of a training that I'm participating in, was asked to write a letter to express why I chose to apply for that training and chose to participate in it. So I did also turn that into a digital story. So we're just going to show you that now. And again, this is just kind of my story of why I decided to apply for a training. And so I'll play that. Again, I don't know that the music will work, but you'll get to see the visual and see the text. Okay, so that is just, again, a digital story that I created to go along with the training that I'm currently part of. But as you can see, it's just kind of a short story to express kind of how I started on the journey in the disability world and share with people at the training my experience. So, sometimes it's hard when you're thinking of creating something like a digital story. Where do you start? So, we kind of wanted to create a timeline. Again, today we're kind of just focusing on Canva, but there are other platforms. You can make something in PowerPoint. You could create in different programs. So if you know of a program or an app that does this, then, definitely, use what you're comfortable with. If you have questions, we're here to help you. But when you get started, you just kind of want to determine what platform is it that I'm going to use to tell the story. Or if I'm helping somebody create it, what is a platform that's going to be helpful for them to use to tell their story and get their story out there. So like today we've used Canva. The stories we've showed you are all in Canva so far. So you want to determine the purpose of your story. After you figure out what platform you want, figure out what is the purpose of your story and who's your audience. Who do you want that story to reach? So If the purpose of your story is to talk about future goals, if you're in high school, you're a person with a disability in high school, and you have goals for a career or college, living independently after high school, those types of things, then determine, okay, that's my story, but who's my audience? My audience is the IEP team or school staff. If that's something you want to show at the IEP team, then you would kind of gear that video toward that purpose and that audience. So, and there are other situations, like I said, if you're attending a training or, you're advocating for changes with services or things like that, you want to think about who is the story, who do I want it to reach, and what do I want it to tell? So then you want to gather information after that. Do you have kind of draft your story out, and you can revise that, have other people look at it if you need to see if they have any recommendations or suggestions that you could consider. But you really want to draft your story and think about what language do I want to use in it, what story do I want to tell, and gather photos or whatever you're going to use in that story. And then, you want to look at creating that story in whatever platform you use. So, uploading your photos to Canva, things like that, and typing that in, adding music to it if you're going to do that. So, that's just kind of a time frame or timeline of how to share your story or where to start. And then as far as considering like how long a story should be, really everything that I've learned about digital storytelling says that it should be 3 minutes or under. So, you want it to be long enough to get your story across, but also you don't want it to be so long that people lose attention, or you might have to consider if you're going to trying to make a system change and talking to a legislator or something like that, they may only have 3 minutes to talk to you, or if you're sending a link to somebody, they may only have a few minutes to view that story. So you really want to keep it at 3 minutes or under.
Giving the highlighted information of things on your digital storytelling and not the complete information also allows room for conversation to grow after the storytelling is finished. So it promotes the socialization and questions to go back and forth. So now we're going to talk about the different tools you can use to make a digital storytelling. There's lots of apps that can do this. There's lots of great support out there. You can, of course, go, I don't want to say old school, but old school is what my kids called it every time I say PowerPoint presentations. But we're going to focus again on Canva today. Next slide, please. So here are a couple more apps that can help you with your digital storytelling. The first one is something Carrie discovered recently from the Minnesota Governor's Council on Developmental Disabilities. She can click on that. Oh, it's going to be.
Okay, for some reason that is
Okay.
not working, but we'll send you a link
Yeah.
to this so that you have it. But basically this app, if you're trying to make, I think it's more if you're trying to make like a legislative change, you want to talk to a legislator about system-wide changes, this app, Telling Your Story app, will take you through different questions. It will ask you questions, you fill in your answers, and then my understanding is at the end you have your story that you can take to that person. So
You want to try to click on the voice maker to see if that one works? We're new to this, guys. Okay, so this voice maker app here, Carrie, just type in a simple sentence there to the box. And then hit convert to speech. Oh, Carrie's not signed up for it. Okay, I take it back. I'd have to do it. But anyway, it is a way that you can put text into this screen. It is a free program once you build an account. They do have an upgraded version that's unlimited with more authentic or real sounding voices. But this is a great way for our kids that don't want to record themselves talking through their presentation. Maybe they're a non-speaking student or young adult or adult with a disability. So everything you put in text format can be converted into speech. There's different volumes, pitch, speed, It's a great way to add vocalization to your presentations, to your digital story. And again, it's free once you sign up for it. Okay, so recently I was asked to speak at the Hope School Gala for their holiday celebration about our journey with residential placement with our oldest son, David. So here is just our story. So that's a really good example as to the presentation was much longer. This is highlighted portions of it. I could talk through different areas as the slides came up. So that's just another example of a way to tell a digital story.
Okay, so again, like when you have a story to tell, I think sometimes it can be intimidating. Like, do I want to share this? Who do I want to share it with? But getting your story out there, if you have a story to tell as a parent, a caregiver, professional, a person with a disability, your story can be very inspiring. So you just never know who it's going to reach or who you're going to inspire through using your story or telling it. And a digital story, you can reach so many people by creating a digital story, whereas if you're telling your story in person, you reach maybe less people. It really depends on the situation, what platform is helpful. But with technology, you can reach so many people. It can be shared on social media, emailed to people, what have you. And then if you share it on social media, other people can share it and it can, reach far and wide. So you just really never know what impact your story can have and who it could inspire or reach. So, definitely consider that when you're making your story.
We challenge you here at Family Matters to share your story. It's a great way to get points across, highlighted information, and we'd love to see them here at Family Matters as well. The page got flipped over backwards, sorry. Okay, so thank you. When sharing your story here at Family Matters, you can email it to us, and if we feel like it would be helpful to others, we may reach back out to you and ask if we can share it on our either social media or website platform or just among staff with each other. You would never know how much a family may be doing something one way that we think might benefit another family to suggest the idea. Of course, there's always cautions when sharing your story, and I have to remind everyone that once things are out there on the internet, it's very hard to take them away if not impossible. So be careful about what information you want to share. Maybe you just want to use your first name. Maybe you want to use an alias that Batman has done all these things. That's completely up to you and how you want to keep yourself, your student, your young adult safe. So There's a lot of really great curriculum out there about internet safety. There's a lot of good programs and resources there. We can share some of those from Family Matters to you as well. But just remember, once your digital story is out there on the internet, it's very hard to remove it from the internet.
Okay, so we know that Canva is new to, it was new to me not that long ago, but now that I'm familiar with it, I'm more comfortable with it and creating videos and things like that. So we know that, Canva, again, is just one tool that you could use. It's one that we're pretty familiar with, and it's been pretty user friendly. I believe there's a free version of the app and then one for a fee. So, you can get on the free version on your phone or your computer, what have you. But we wanted to walk you through just a little bit of how to use Canva as far as digital storytelling. And again, this isn't going to be like you're going to know exactly how to use it if you're not familiar with it, but it just gives you a little bit of advice. So you can get the app on your device, and then when you're looking at creating a story, if once you've created your story, I guess, you would look to share. So circled here in red on your screen, there's a share button. So when you've created your story and you're like, okay, I'm ready to share this, you can click the share button, and then you would go into to download that. You can, down here in the red circle, you would click download. And it would download, like if you're looking to download a PDF or something that you could print, that's where you would do that. And then if you're looking to copy a link, so if I want to take my digital story and email it to somebody, I can copy the link. So it gives me choices as well. So it looks, anyone with a link can do what. So you pick who you want to be able to access the link, who you're giving access to that. So I don't remember all of the options, but if you click here where it says collaboration link, right now it's set on anyone with a link can view. But there are options too, like if I'm creating something at work and I want other people's input on the PowerPoint or presentation or video I'm creating for work in Canva, then I can give people permission to edit that. So right now, like sharing your digital story, you just may want to click anybody can view. You wouldn't want people to edit your story. And then you can hit copy link here, and then that would give you a link that you can email or post to social media, things like that. So those are just some helpful tips in creating a digital story.
I keep forgetting to unmute myself, guys. I'm sorry. We're new to the Zoom platform too, so we're learning lots of new things. So during today's presentation, I hope you were able to identify those 3 benefits to sharing your advocacy story with others. I hope you were able to discover those 3 tools that we talked about to make a successful digital story, remembering that you can use a variety of tools, whatever you're comfortable with and whatever your students comfortable with. And I hope you identified cautions to sharing your story online. And again, there's lots of great resources about online safety that you can look into. So if you contact Carrie or myself after the presentation, we can share some of those resources with you. So I wanted to thank everybody for joining us today. And I think at this time I can definitely, I will, as Carrie does the next part, I will unmute everybody. So when we come to our question portion, you can ask questions. So.
Okay, so all of our contact information is again on the screen. So if you need to contact us, don't hesitate to reach out. If you have more questions about today's presentation or trainings, anything like that, don't hesitate to reach out to us. And then I will share with you, Abby and I's information are on this screen. So our work emails are here. If you need to contact us personally, you can go ahead and take those down, but I'll leave it on this screen, and I think we are open for questions.
Okay, so Leslie says, so I use the Google Docs for my social stories, but it's not a video. I'm wondering if Google Slides are videos. So Leslie, I found out last night while I was trying to put my digital story together, most of these apps have a way of taking one type of program and turning it into another one. So I would absolutely look into Googling it before you spend the 4 hours turning your presentation into a video when it was one click to do it in a different way. So absolutely look into that.
Good to know. Thank you.
Yes. We all know that Abby's not the best with technology. So this was it was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Smack forehead. Jamie says, thank you for doing this presentation today. It's great information. Tammy says, great resources. Do you have a doc with the 3 resources listed? So yes, so again, we're learning the Zoom platform. So we're going to put together an email for everybody when we're finished, say thank you for coming. Here's a copy of the presentation today. So you'll have a link to those 3 apps. And I see Megan is answering questions. I think it's Carrie answering questions, maybe.
It's me, yes.
Okay. Definitely have fun with that voice maker app, guys. Like I really like it way too much. I like it way too much. So my son uses a communication device though, so we're very used to that language in our house. So when we found this, we were able to do a few more things that were helpful with that. So again, if you don't want to type your question in the question box, you can absolutely answer. Unmute yourself and talk. So that's a very good question. How much time should you set aside to put your digital story together? I mean, it depends on the topic. It depends on how much information you want to include in the slide. Remember, we're going to keep it under 3 minutes. I would say at least an hour. Carrie and I have done a couple map plans with students or person-centered plans and put them together in a digital format, and it took about an hour with each student. I'm not for sure how to answer your question, Amanda, how to ensure your story. I think you mean maybe 504 compliant? So I mean, to lead in that direction, a student with a 504 plan could absolutely put their story into digital format to express how they need their their needs met in school, what accommodations would be helpful to them and why. It'd be a great tool as the student gets older to advocate for themselves at those 504 meetings. And even to put together an overview for their teachers every year as they come back to school. We did last year, we helped parents put together a small student portfolio, like a 1-page to share. So you could do this for your student, and then the teacher or multiple teachers could have access to this digital storytelling about, this is me, this is what I'm working on this year, this is what I'm good at, this is what I struggle with.
Okay, so she's looking at accessibility. I think maybe, voiceover or captions could be used to add to the videos so that, some videos have text on the screen or have voice overlay, so it's, reading it to people as it goes along, things like that. So there are, I think, different approaches you can take to make that accessible for all who are using it.
If you upload it to YouTube, even on the private side of YouTube where you only share it with who has links to it, they will generate those closed captions for you as far as that goes. I've had to really watch there to make sure that they line up how they're supposed to, or you can generate them yourself. So you could have the script that you made for your digital story and put that into the closed captioning, or that voice maker software can also do that for you. So the text would come up on the screen, and the voice maker software, you could type your text in there and it can read it back out for you.
And Leslie's saying this would be a great IEP goal, and this is definitely something that students could work on, to share at their own IEP meeting or even beyond school, things like that. So I think it definitely could be incorporated into IEPs.
Yeah, definitely part of the transition plan. It could be part of your, to share with other agencies that, this is what I need help with. This is what I'm looking for. What, barriers could we eliminate by working together as a team?
Jennifer wants to know about a list of considerations to make sure this is accessible or a site we can point to. So that's something we can look more into and compile some more resources for that on accessibility and just make sure we have everything. But we will definitely email you, information, resources. We'll compile a little more and get all that out to you. So do we have any other questions? I think we have answered everyone's questions, so we will go ahead and let you go for the day. But we appreciate you joining us, and if you have, any further questions that pop up when we email you out resources, things like that, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here to help you and help you navigate this. So just reach out with anything you need, and we appreciate your time today. And just keep checking our website for future trainings, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
And I think a survey will pop up for you when you're finished with this. I think that's how it's set up. If we set it up right, cross our fingers, we urge you to please fill out that survey. It lets us know how we're doing, what kind of topics you'd like to see in the future. We really need you to make sure that we get the survey done. So that would be great. And thank you again, everybody. It was really nice to not see everybody, but interact with each other. And I hope you have a great holiday season that's approaching, or if you're already celebrating. Hi, Erin. Yeah, thanks so much. Have a great day, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.